Hey guys, Alex here. Today we're tackling a topic that I really wish someone had walked me through when I first started out. Not every woodworking project is a gold mine. I've spent countless hours in my shop making things I thought would just fly off the shelves, only to realize that some projects just don't move, no matter how good they look or how little I charge. The truth is, the market has its own mind, and what you think will sell isn't always what people want to buy. So in this video, I'm ranking the top 10 woodworking projects from the worst to the best, based on actual profit, time invested, and real-world demand. If you're thinking about making money with woodworking, stick around, because I've already done the testing and I'm sharing all the numbers. Some of these results might surprise you, and if you're looking to maximize your shop time and actually make a profit, this is the list you need. Let's dive right in. Starting with my biggest disappointment. This one stung a bit because I thought it would be a quick win, but the reality was harsh. Let's get into it. I started off thinking simple wooden key holders would be my bread and butter. They're super easy to batch out, use up scrap wood, and everyone needs a place for their keys, right? Well, turns out the market is just drowning in these things. I made a bunch, tried to get creative with shapes and finishes, but no matter what I did, the sales just didn't come in. Even when I dropped the price to almost nothing, there were just too many similar options out there. It's a classic case of oversaturation. Unless you've got some wild twist or you're selling to a very specific audience, these key holders don't bring in much profit. For the amount of time I spent cutting, sanding, and finishing them, the return just wasn't worth it. If you're thinking about selling woodworking, I'd skip these unless you've got a killer design that really stands out. Next up, phone stands. These are beginner-friendly and honestly, they look pretty slick when finished right. I made a few variations, angled cuts, minimalist slots, even some with fancy hardwoods. They photograph well and are fun to make, but when it came to selling I hit the same wall as with the key holders. The market is just packed with phone stands, and buyers have tons of choices at every price point. I managed to sell a couple, but only after dropping the price way down. The time spent making them versus the money coming in just didn't add up. Unless you're making something wild with hidden features or unique joinery, it's tough to stand out. They're great for practice and gifts, but as a moneymaker, they're not worth the effort. Moving up the list, I tried my hand at small wall shelves. These take more effort than the first two projects: cutting, gluing, finishing, and sometimes adding hardware or brackets. What I noticed is that these did get a little more attention, probably because people are always looking for ways to organize their space and style. I managed to sell a few, but it wasn't anything to write home about. The upside is that they do fetch a slightly better price, especially if you put extra care into the finish or use interesting wood. But overall, the returns were just okay. If you enjoy making them and can batch them out efficiently, it's not a bad option. But don't expect to get rich off small wall shelves alone. Wooden coasters are one of those projects that everyone makes at least once. They're cheap, quick to produce in batches, and people love picking them up as gifts. I tried selling them individually at first, but I quickly learned that sets sell way better. The trick is to bundle them up. Sets of 4 or 6 with a nice holder make them feel more like a complete product. Competition is fierce here, so if you want your coasters to sell, you need to get creative with the design. Think unique shapes, interesting patterns, or even custom engraving. When you do that, you can stand out enough to make some decent sales. Still, don't expect big profits unless you're really nailing the design and presentation. Plant stands were a pleasant surprise. They take a bit more time and material compared to coasters or shelves, but they sell much faster, especially if you're aiming for the decorative market. People love having stylish ways to display their plants, and a well-made plant stand, with clean lines, and a nice finish just flies off the table at craft fairs or online. Because they're seen as a piece of furniture, rather than just an accessory, you can price them higher, and the profit margin is much better. The key is to keep the design simple but elegant. Think mid-century shapes or modern lines. These were some of my quickest sellers, and definitely worth the extra effort. Cutting boards are a staple in any woodworker's lineup, and for good reason. If you put in the effort to make them look clean and premium, with nice hardwoods, good glue-ups, and a flawless finish, they almost always sell. People are willing to pay more for a board that feels substantial and looks like it belongs in a high-end kitchen. Finishing quality is everything here. I found that boards with rounded edges, food-safe finishes, and maybe even a juice groove sold much faster than the plain, square ones. It's not the easiest project on the list, but if you want consistent sales and good profit, cutting boards should definitely be in your product lineup. Floating shelves surprised me with how well they sold, even though the design is really straightforward. People love the clean, minimalist look, and the fact that these shelves don't show any hardware once installed. I kept the design simple, just solid wood, clean edges, and hidden brackets, and, priced them a bit higher than I expected. The best part? They still sold quickly. It really showed me that value isn't always tied to complexity. If your shelf looks solid and well made, people will pay for it. These are a solid choice for anyone looking to make good money without getting too fancy with the build. Wooden trays are one of those projects that just look expensive when finished right. The build itself isn't complicated, just a nice flat base with some clean sides and maybe built-in handles. But if you spend a little extra time on the finish and styling, you can really elevate the perceived value. I experimented with different woods and edge treatments, and every time I staged the trays with a few props, they caught people's attention. Because they look so polished, you can price them higher and still make fast sales. They're practical, decorative, and perfect for gifts. If you're looking for a woodworking project that's simple to make but delivers great returns, trays should be at the top of your list. Custom name signs are where things really start to get interesting. Personalization is a huge selling point, whether it's a family name, a kid's room sign, or something for a wedding or business. Not everyone offers custom work, so the competition drops and you can charge a premium. I found that people are willing to pay good money for something that feels truly unique to them. The process does take a little longer, especially if you're doing hand carving or CNC work, but the profit margin more than makes up for it. If you're comfortable taking custom orders and working closely with clients, this is one of the best ways to stand out and make real money with your woodworking. And finally, the project that blew everything else out of the water: wooden serving boards with a premium finish. These sold the fastest, fetched the highest prices, and honestly, they were the most satisfying to make. I focused on clean, modern shapes, perfectly smooth edges, and a finish that made the wood look deep and rich. The minute people saw and touched them, they sold themselves. It's all about the details here. High-end serving boards feel like a luxury product when you nail the joinery, sand them silky smooth, and use a food-safe oil to bring out the grain. They make great gifts and centerpieces, and because they look and feel valuable, people don't mind paying top dollar. If you want the most bang for your buck, this is the project to beat. So after testing all these projects, the biggest lesson I learned is that the most profitable woodworking projects weren't the easiest or the fastest. They were the ones that looked and felt valuable. It's not about making the simplest thing you can. It's about putting extra care into design, finish, and the little details that make your work stand out from the rest. High perceived value is what really drives sales and profit. If you're serious about making money with woodworking, focus on improving your designs and finishes. Take the time to create products that people are proud to display or give as gifts. That extra effort pays off not just in higher prices, but in satisfied customers who come back for more. Remember, it's not about being the cheapest, it's about being the best. I want to hear from you guys. Out of all these projects, which one would you try to sell? Drop your answer in the comments below, and let's talk shop. I've got more projects lined up to test in the next video, and I have a feeling some of the results will totally surprise you. So stay tuned and keep building.